You know, one of my favorite moments randomly in hosting the show was I saw a what was it? What do they call them? Do they call them a truth social? That like fake Twitter that no one, even the right wingers aren't on really. A truth, right? I don't know what it is. Anyway, a what? No, it's called Truth Social, I think. No one cares. Anyway, the point is Trump sent out one of his thingies. I don't know what they're called, and it was like Trevor Noah was never funny. Jon Stewart was only slightly better. And then like he goes on like a rant and he's just like, these people don't realize if they moved more to the center like me, they would have more followers. Then I'm like, center like you? I'm like, my man, you think you're in the middle? But what was funny was like someone was like, oh, he said that you're not funny, and I was like, yeah, I read that, but I was like, oh, so you were watching. Who else do we have from where? Yes? Egypt. Oh, very nice. That's cool. Cool and exotic. Yes. How are things going over there? Just blink if it's good. And blink twice if it's bad. I won't say your name. I won't put you on camera. You can go back. Your president doesn't have to know you were here. Things are good in Egypt. When you watch Donald Trump, does he remind you a little bit of Egyptian leaders? Yeah, a lot? Yeah, it's just without the Arabic. Just like, say again? They're also friends. They're also what? Friends. Oh, they are friends, yeah. Yeah, he is. You can see that. It'd be cool if, like, I feel like Trump would be exactly the same even if he spoke Arabic. It would be like the same thing. It'd be like, بعدك شكرا ليلى بعدك ليلى يلا Yeah, that was an interesting part of the interview. Just like Donald Trump got spanked and then he just became a nice person and started having like a conversation normally with Stormy Daniels, and like people were like, this is a shocking revelation, and I didn't know, that was crazy. And in my head the whole time I was just thinking to myself, like every African parent will be like, there's nothing shocking here. If you beat your child, they become nice and they will talk to you properly, huh? Donald Trump is just a child who needs to be beaten. That's literally what, like my grandmother, when she hears about like the things Donald Trump does, then she'll just be like, oh, Trevor, why doesn't someone just... And I'm like, he's a grown man. She's like, no, why doesn't just... Someone must just beat him. I'm like, I don't think the Secret Service will allow that. It's like a weird idea, just beating Donald Trump. I thought that would be like a weird thing if he had like a meeting with one of Africa's leaders, you know, and he totally forgot about like the shithole comments. And then he was like, how are you, Mr. Prime Minister? And he's like, good to see you, Donald. First things first, lock the door. What's going on? What's going on? Pull down your pants, Donald. Wait. Who's a shithole? Who is a shithole? Wait, mate. No, stop. Who is a shithole? Who is a shithole? Huh? What are you saying about Muslims? What are you saying? Huh? It would be like a weird story where they tell in history. It'd be like Donald Trump, America's first president to be assassinated. Every day we find out something new about Donald Trump that doesn't, I mean, it doesn't shock me, but it's interesting to put all the pieces together. It's like a well-written, unnecessary episode of Scandal. That's what it feels like, because we're always finding out new things. Like to find out that the guy lied his way onto Forbes and then lied his way from Forbes and then lied after the Forbes. You go like, so everything, every single thing that he does is just like lying all the way through it. And I know some people would get angry and be like, oh, that, you know, the lying and the, you know, I can't believe it's fraudulent or whatever. But I also go, the fact that Donald Trump could get bank loans just using a Forbes article, two things. One, Forbes, you guys don't check? Like really? That's all you're supposed to do as Forbes for me. That's your only job, is to just check if the people have the money. And if all Trump has to do is phone you with a fake voice and be like, I have the money. I mean, he has the money. Like, that's all, and that's how people get on the list? And then what makes it worse is they go like, if he possibly got money and loans, who's giving Donald Trump a loan? Like, if ever there was a definition of white privilege for me, it's walking into a bank with a magazine and being like, here, page 4. You see page 4. This is how much money I have. Can you imagine if like a black entertainer tried to pull that move, just walked in with like Ebony magazine and they were like, yeah, so about that loan, I don't know if you noticed on page 7, I'm looking real fly. So I mean, what do you say? He's like, no, man, why are you giving him the loan? This is ridiculous. And it also sort of makes you understand how and why Donald Trump uses the phrase fake news. Because for so long, Donald Trump was instrumental in making fake news. So in his head, he sees the news as fake because he contributed to making it fake. So he goes like, I've made so many fake stories. I was John Barron. He played like another character as well where he like lied about his relationships. He said he dated supermodels that he didn't date. He planted stories about himself. But he saw the fruit. So he went, I can call a reporter. The reporter's not really going to check. They're going to print the story. And I can make fake news. So now as president, he goes like, guys, it's all fake. And you're like, how do you know? And he's like, I just know. I know. He can't tell you how he knows, but he's like, no, like it's fake, guys. My favorite moment of Donald Trump visiting the UK was how the British journalists didn't know how to handle him because he had an interview with The Sun, right? Which is not like they're against him. They're a conservative newspaper in the United Kingdom, and with like very extreme headlines and very tabloidy. And they interviewed him, and then he completely denied everything that they reported about him the next day. And then like I was watching one of the journalists, and he was like, we just don't understand because we were recording it, and he knew that we were recording it, and I don't understand how he could turn around and say that it's fake news when we have the recording, and everyone was just, and you could see that they were just like, what, this makes no sense. This is absolutely no, and my favorite was like the American journalists, they were like, welcome to our lives. Because I think everybody in the world thinks that Trump is just like, it's like America's having like a hissy fit, but when he comes to another country, the people there are like, oh, this shit is, it's like Godzilla on a world tour. You know what I mean? Like we see the Japanese and we're like, I would handle Godzilla like no one is here, you're like, ah! What would I ask Trump if I could meet him? That's a tough one because like, over time, I've come to realize that, like I understand Trump's formula. Like, I know that he lies. I know what he lies about and why he lies. I know sometimes if he doesn't like the question, he's just going to take it to a question that he wants to answer. So most of the time, it's like today they asked him about like why he did what he did with Ukraine, and then he started talking about the markets and the economy, and then he started talking about Iran and then the fake media. So I'll be honest with you. I would try and be crazy before he can be crazy to see how he would respond. So like I would just come in and I'd be like, yo, Mr. Trump, now you speak to a lot of world leaders. You have a great relationship with T'Challa and Wakanda. So do you think the US stands to gain vibranium from this deal? And then knowing him, he'd be like, we're looking at it. It's such a great deal. I've been a big fan. I love them so much, and we're gonna look at it.